What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. I got a model in that I've always had my eye on, but never ever pulled the trigger on. Finally caught it on a sale for the holidays, and I just had to get it. Let's take a look at what we got in today. All right, guys, we are looking at the Kubey Momentum. You will know that. I don't know why I do that in the intros, because I clearly I clearly take the picture on there so you can see exactly what you're going to be looking at today. But I guess I just feel like it's more fun to build up the hype. I don't know. Let's get back to the knife. I've always liked this design. I think it's a very beautiful, subtle curve here. I like the lines on this one. I love the fact that it is dual means of deployment. Kubey does an excellent job giving you premium materials at a very affordable price. And, you know, this one here has always, like I said, caught my eye. Been one that I've been interested in. I think it says, is that manganese? I think it's manganese. It's a manganese design. And I really like this flamed anno version of this one. It's got some very subtle milling lines on it, some milling again here on the lock bar access, internal relief cut, keeping it super duper clean on the side, matching flamed anno on the titanium pocket clip, blue anno, and you know I'm a sucker for blue. Blues and greens really get me, guys. Blue anno on the hardware here. You got a nice matching back spacer with a lanyard post on the back. So again, great attention to details on a very killer design here. I did take it down to the garage so I could get some cutting on camera in addition to any cutting that I did with the knife after that. Moved through the catalog paper very nicely. Great factory edge. I must say Kubey always puts a good edge on the knives for all the ones that I've ever experienced. And then laser beam through the cardboard, guys. This thing is very slicey. It's got a great geometry on it. And then with that drop point tip, I'm able to get into a pinch grip and I'm able to muscle out some detailed cuts in a very controlled fashion. I did take it through a little bit of denim as well and absolutely bit into the denim and pushed through with zero effort. Man, it was super easy and I felt locked in the entire time. This little jimping with the spear point, really nice. It feels very good. I love Kubey's thumb studs. I feel like every model that I've experienced with their thumb studs is very well done. They're not oversized. They got great stepping on them, so they're easily able to be gripped and very hard to skid off of if you accidentally come in hot and go a little bit further past than the tip of your thumb. You know, if you're catching it mid thumb or something like that, you know, you're just able to get that grip. I hit my finger as I opened it because I had it in the way of that front flipper. Good tight jimping here, and they take it all the way up. I wish they had given us one more jump on there, but with it being so tall, I can't complain. I'm able to easily actuate this in all the means of deployment. The detent on this is a little light for my taste, so when we do the disassembly video later, I'll try to tune it up. But I've come to understand, learn that with these internal relief cuts, it is a little bit harder than the external relief cuts to get those detents to be very stout. Having said that, it doesn't feel like I'm going to fail it. It just feels a little lighter than I would like it. So I'm just going to see when we do the disassembly if I can tune that up in any way, shape, or form. You have stamped ceramic bearings in the pivot. They work very well. If they have washers, I probably will because this is a more premium ended knife. Flip them and throw some skiffs on there just to see, and I'll report if there's any difference. Now, everyone always points out when you clean and put fresh lube, it always makes it feel like there's a little bit of a difference, and that is true, but the feedback that you get with stamped bearings, sometimes you feel like you can feel those bearings rolling around and vibrating on the scales, especially when they're hollowed out for weight relief like this one is. And when you throw the skiffs on there, it feels more glassy, feels very smooth. It reduces the feedback and the action on it just feels really, really smooth. The action might not be hugely improved, but I have found that it does reduce that feedback, giving it a more glassy feel. This one's locked up solid, but I do think that the skiffs having more contact points give you a little bit more solidity in the pivot, and I like that as well. But this one's locked up solid, so no complaints there. How about we do some size comparisons? We'll weigh it out, and then we'll finally score this guy. All right, so I did want to pull out a medium size and a full size, so I grabbed my Manix 2 lightweight here and my QSP Vault, and as you can see, the Momentum is actually kind of in between. It's just ever so slightly shorter than the Manix 2 lightweight and ever so slightly longer than the QSP Vault. But I would definitely say it feels hand filling. It feels more full size. The Vault feels more like bug out medium EDC to me. But you know, if you have medium to large hands, you're going to get plenty to grip onto with either of these. Let's do a couple more and then we'll grab the scale. All right, guys, I have my Vero Engineering Nova and my Devo Collab Stasa 23 Fireball out here on the table. This is definitely more medium sized and the Vero is more full size. And you can see that the Momentum carries its momentum more towards the full size. Dad jokes for days, free of charge, all day, every day. I know that was awful, guys. I really do apologize. But again, just a good full-sized EDC. Let's grab the scale. All right, scale is out and on. I think this is going to be around 4 ounces. Doesn't feel particularly heavy, but it could be deceiving as well. So 3.8, it's actually a little bit lighter than 4 ounces. So, you know, 3.8 to 4 is probably not something I'd be able to feel in hand. That's why I said I feel like it's around 4 ounces. You know, for what you're getting here, full frame lock, titanium, all titanium hardware, steel blade, all of the good stuff. I think that's a very good weight. I'm very happy with that weight. No issues whatsoever. All right, let me get this scale out of the way, guys. We're going to wrap it up with final thoughts and impressions and get you a score. All right, let's go ahead and give our final thoughts and impressions. So I'm going to start by letting you know I grade on a score of 1 to 10. 1's the worst, 10 is the best. Budget knives stop at 7, and there's a little gray area around those with the budget knives. If you've seen a video where that has happened, I've explained it then, so I'm not going to rehash that. I do this for a couple of things. One, to give you point of reference. So I can tell you all day long that I love a knife, or I like a knife, or it feels good, or it doesn't feel good. But I think if you watch my reviews and you've seen other knives that you like on my channel, and you understand where they landed as far as a score system goes, you'll have a point of reference, right? So I could say this is really good, I like it, I'm very happy with it, and maybe like the Nova was the best ever I've ever done and it was a 9.4. I don't know that I've ever given that score, but just for a reference, and say this one lands at a 6, then you may be like, that's kind of not a great score considering premium materials on both of these knives. So that's the reason that I do that. Having said that, what goes into it? Ergos, performance, deployment. If it's single, multiple means will help it. If it's single, it wouldn't necessarily hurt it, but multiple means of deployment will give it over there. Action, my experience with it, how I feel about it aesthetically, how I vibe with it, which that is very subjective. So that, goes into the score. So keep that in mind. If I say that there's a knife that I don't like, this one here has always kind of caught my eye. Just never really got around to it. Having said that, I'm really glad that I did. I've very much enjoyed this one. This is an excellent EDC. It may be one of my top 5 Kubey models that I've ever handled and experienced as far as how much I like it. Having said that, I am going to go 7.8. That is a monster score, guys. A monster score. What holds it back a little bit is the bead blast on the M390. I'm not a huge fan of the bead blast. If it was a machine or a stonewash, I would have much preferred that over the bead blast. The bead blast can harm the steel, and you could potentially get some corrosion going depending on how well they've done the bead blast or how poorly they may have done their bead blast. The other thing here with the M390, if I recall correctly when I looked this up, or I'm not sure if I looked it up or if I saw it in the chat where they were discussing the heat treat on these, but the M390 from Kubey comes in a little low, coming in at 59 to 61. That is okay for production. If you hit that 61 mark, that's probably going to be the most ideal that you're going to get from a production knife. I would have loved to have seen 60 to 62 if they could push it just a little bit with their heat treat on their production factory knives. When it comes to M390, I'd love that. Adversely, I would probably just suggest S90V, because if you do 69, 60, 59, 69, my God. 59 to 61 on S90V is an excellent heat treat for production for EDC. Having said that, you're not going to be disappointed with the edge retention performance on this. It's going to be far superior to anything that you're going to get out of the budget realm. It's going to still outperform on edge retention Magna Cut. It's going to be competitive with S35, S45VN. Probably going to fall short of S90V's edge retention performance. Still going to be fairly tough and pretty corrosive resistant. Hopefully with the bead blast on there, that didn't bring that down any, so that does affect the score a little bit. But I love the aesthetics. I think it has a good detent. I think it could be great if it was a little bit stiffer. I love the fact that it is super clean with the internal relief cut here, and in the disassembly, if I'm able to tune that, that's going to go a really long way. But the fit, the finish, everything that you're getting on this one, especially at the price point that's being offered, I think it's very, very good. The price point helps offset the heat treat a little bit here, because if you contextualize it and you look at something that maybe has 14C28N and titanium, those can run anywhere from like let's call it 99 if you find a excellent deal on with one with a discount code. So anywhere from 99 to 139. So if you take into account that these can be had for under 200 with the M390, which I think even at that heat treat is a huge jump on steel edge and its performance over a budget steel like that, that does help it. When you try to compare it to something that maybe comes from Devo, where they're focused on the heat treat and giving you a steel where the heat treat that they focus in on performs at a very, very high level. Or if you look at something from like a Spyderco, which is probably going to cost more than this, and it is not giving you titanium and such, and that may not be important to you, I get that. Just to contextualize a little bit on why I say I do forgive a little bit when it comes to the heat treat on this at that price, because you're going to pay more for companies that are going to push the heat treat. And in Spyderco's case, I go to the aftermarket to get those applied weapon tech scales, because I really think the FRN and things like that are not great. I think the G10 is okay, you know, especially if it's a work knife. I think that actually is very appropriate. But I like the aluminum. Yes, it scratches, but I just think it feels a little bit nicer in hand. It's not so flexy. It doesn't feel so gritty. Their G10 is very aggressive, but I just wanted to explain that a little bit. But I really like this. I'm super happy that I picked it up. I'm extremely happy that I picked it up on sale. To me, that's like a win-win-win. So I'm happy for that. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Momentum down in the comments below. Do you like this one? Don't you? I will link everything that I can down there for you below, because when you use the links, it helps the channel. If you enjoyed the video, a like will also help. Special shout out to my channel members. You guys support the channel, and I love you for that. I hope you all have a great week. I'm out of here. I'll catch you next time. Peace.